Hey my friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. I'm Melissa and today I have for you a week's worth of meal ideas. Some are using the Crock-Pot and some are just very quick and easy meals that would be great to make on a busy weeknight. So stay tuned. This first meal is red beans and rice, and we love red beans and rice here in our home. And I've done a version where it's super quick using canned red beans, but this time I'm using dried red beans. And I actually did a video of Crock-Pot meals that I will put a link in the description box, but this is one of those meals that I made. Very simple. You just soak the red beans, which I didn't soak them, so I had to cook them a little bit to get them a little bit soft. You just chop up the sausage and put your seasonings. For seasonings, I use Tony Chachere's minced onion, garlic, Worcestershire, salt, pepper, and then a bay leaf. But you just add all of that to the crock pot. This is a great dump and go meal, which is what that video was. It was a bunch of dump and go meals. So make sure you check that out if you love cooking in your crock pot. I know I love cooking in mine. But anyway, you just add all of this to the crock pot in the morning, turn it on low, let it cook all day. And when you come home, you cook some rice. I use jasmine rice when I make anything like red beans and rice, gumbo. I use jasmine rice and jambalaya. Love jasmine rice. So if you've never tried jasmine rice, you need to make sure you try it. But anyway, get all this cooked, come home, make some jasmine rice, and dinner is served. And it's so delicious. I do make sure I mash up some of the beans using this tool when I get home and they've been cooking all day and they're soft. I just use this tool and mash up some beans. But if you don't have this tool, you can just take some beans out and mash them with a fork. But it's that simple, and it just helps thicken up that red bean broth. On this night, we had blackened chicken salad. This is one of those meals that is such an easy meal to make if you don't have a lot of time, after being gone all day. We just take some of the Tyson chicken and cook it up. I boiled a couple of eggs, one for me, one for my husband. But for the chicken, I just use this blackened seasoning and put it on top. We kind of chop up the chicken into bite-sized pieces and just let that cook. But you can just put in your salad whatever you want. We like egg, the chicken, some cheese, some cucumber, and then I get this cranberries and walnut mix that you just sprinkle on top and use your favorite dressing, and that is a delicious meal. This next night was another one of those crock-pot meals, those dump and go crock-pot meals, and I will have a recipe to this one linked below. But I just bought a pork tenderloin, and this was a black cracked pepper seasoned pork tenderloin. And then I just added some bell pepper and onion blend, and then all of the seasonings. And again, I'll have the measurements and everything in the recipe below, but you just add black beans. And I will say that I wish I would have added some corn to this just to give it another little additional kind of depth of flavor. But next time I make this, I'm going to use corn. But then you just add green chilies, rotel, and the taco seasoning, and you would use probably the equivalent of one packet of taco seasoning. But you just add all of that to the crock pot. I tried to sort of mix it together as much as possible with that big pork tenderloin, but I just kind of mixed around that seasoning in with the rotel and the black beans. But anyway, you just cook this on low. I let it cook for probably about 7.5 hours. And when I came home, it was nice and tender. So I just took the two forks and just shredded the pork tenderloin. Now, it was a little thick, so I did add some thickener, like a cornstarch slurry, just to make it a little bit thicker. And I served this with some riced cauliflower, which next time, I think I may just use this pork over some tortilla chips and make nachos, but the flavor was delicious. My husband loves when I cook breakfast for dinner, so that's what we had for dinner this night. I just fried up some eggs for each of us. I have some grits. I made some biscuits. No, I did not make them. I cooked them. They were frozen biscuits. But I did make the sausage gravy, and I'll put a link to the recipe where I made this sausage gravy so you can know how to do it. But this was breakfast that night. Fried up some bacon. Always a hit. Hamburger noodle casserole is probably one of my favorites. It's a very comfy, cozy meal because my mom used to make this when I was growing up, and I was always excited to know that she was cooking that for dinner. So this is one of those meals that I'd love to make. And my youngest son isn't crazy about it because he doesn't like red sauce, but my oldest son loves this. And I actually did this full recipe for a video, and I will post a link to that also in the description box. But I did this for a freezer meal video. This hamburger noodle casserole makes a great freezer meal. It's just the two of us now in our house, so cooking a huge casserole, we are definitely going to have leftovers. So in the video that I will link, I showed how I freeze this. But anyway, you just brown your ground beef. I add some minced onion and pepper to the meat to just season it, even though, and garlic. Even though this Prego is seasoned, I like to season my meat before I put the Prego in there. But this meal is such an easy meal to make. It's similar to a lasagna. It has a very lasagna feel, but the way I make this, it's so much easier and so much quicker than lasagna. Once you put the meat in once you put the Prego in the meat, you just let it simmer. I have some medium egg noodles boiling, and once they are boiled and once they're cooked according to package instructions, you just drain them. And here they've been cooking for about 8 minutes or so, but I drain that. And then I'm going to start putting all of this together. I add sour cream and cottage cheese to the noodles and then a few more seasonings. And then I start layering it. You just put a layer of the ground beef on the bottom, the pasta sauce on the bottom. Then you put half of the noodles on top of the meat. Then I have about 3 cups of shredded cheddar jack cheese. You can put some of that shredded cheese on top of the noodles, spread it out, and then you just repeat the layers. You finish with the rest of the sauce, the rest of the cheese. And I have my oven preheated to 425. So once you have all of that put together, then you just stick it in the oven and let it cook for probably about 20 minutes or until the cheese is nice and bubbly. And this is it out of the oven. Again, this makes a great freezer meal. This is so delicious. Since my son moved out, he's kind of on his own for dinner, but I did want to cook dinner for him this night, and he loves chicken and dumplings. So I just have my broth in the pot with some seasoning, salt, pepper, garlic, and then I add a can of cream of celery soup. With this much broth, I should have probably added 2 cans of cream of celery, but you know, it turned out fine. But anyway, that I make mine really easy. I use rotisserie chicken. You know, I know a lot of people make their own stock, they boil their own chicken. This is my easy version. I used canned biscuits, and this is the butter style biscuits, not the flaky. I don't like using the flaky biscuits, but roll out the biscuits, cut them into strips, let those cook, and I let them cook until, you know, everything kind of gets super thick. Then I add a little bit of heavy whipping cream in there to kind of thicken it up. And this is the chicken and dumplings. He was a very happy camper because he also had leftovers. But that is it for this week's menu. I hope that you enjoyed it, and let me know in the comments if any of these are things that you make in your home. But if you like videos like this and you want more meal ideas, then make sure you click that subscribe button and click the bell button so you don't miss any of my videos. And check out the box you see on the screen right now, and I'll see you next time. Bye.